welcome to Tilco. This is my 1989 Honda Civic sedan EF. It's an automatic. And today we're just going to be doing a simple brake job on it. I'm taking this 1,340 miles all the way to Texas, so the thing needs to be ready. And before, the brakes weren't so good, so we went ahead and threw in a new master cylinder and a booster, as well as this car has had head gasket done, motor mounts, etc., full fluid flush, so I'm pretty confident I'll make it. As you can see, I just recently purchased it from a good friend of mine. You can see the interior is pretty minty, the dash is really clean, something I was super excited about. I just also recently installed the late model taillights. Still need the late model rear finish panel. It's not the perfect looking car, but it definitely is good for $1,500 is what I picked it up for. So right now, since we just installed that brake booster and master cylinder, come down here. We're just doing a simple flush on it right now. So we're in the process of removing all the tires, getting this thing roadworthy, and we're gonna film the whole trip in this Civic right here. Later on, I'll do a tour. We have a few other vehicles, so we'll run through those a bit. Just for now, we're gonna install some basic .3. It's not a performance car. We're not gonna be needing .4 or anything like that, 4.1. So I think we'll be set. And yeah, I hope you guys stick around for the journey. Appreciate if you're here on the channel, you know, like and subscribe and everything like that. So yeah, let's get started. So right now it's Friday, around 9 o'clock. We're just doing some finishing touches on the EF right here. So we left off, I was doing the braking system. Unfortunately, the braking system did not want to build boost at all. Didn't want to build any brake pressure at all. So, you know, had to go back to the drawing board and, you know, ask a few friends what the issue could be. And I forgot to bleed the master cylinder. So I'm gonna use this bleeding kit right here. I'm gonna bleed the master cylinder. I forgot to bench bleed it. That's my bad. It took me a couple hours to figure that one out. But once that gets bled, we're gonna rebleed the whole system and hopefully get that ready for the 1,300 mile trip to San Antonio. So we just need to get that done, get the muffler added. The droning will be terrible on the way there, and for sure a lot of fatigue if I don't get that muffler fixed. So that is very important to me. But for now, I'm just gonna yank that baby out right there and get that bled, and then you know, get you on the flip side. What's going on, everybody? Right now I'm in Arizona, about 20 minutes out from New Mexico. Unfortunately, I'm going to get the opportunity to take the EF. Had a little mishap with the braking system, so I had to opt for the 05 Civic that we own. We're headed straight to San Antonio still to, you know, hopefully repair that 280, restore it to whatever condition we can in a week's time. But yeah, we still got a 10-hour drive ahead of us. I've been driving for about 8 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch and hopefully make it there without any further delay. We already had like an hour delay, you know, traffic and whatnot, and then a whole day delay on the entire trip trying to get the EF in working condition to head out. So, you know, at least we got the nice view out here. But I'll catch you on the next rest stop. Hopefully we'll be in a little bit better shape. Of course he tags our car.
Huh?
So of course he tags our car.
Hi.
Hello.
What are you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
Not too bad. Where are you guys heading to today?
San Antonio.
San Antonio?
Yeah.
Is that home?
No, we're visiting a friend.
From California?
Yeah.
Alrighty, citizen of the U.S., sir?
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. Citizen of the U.S.?
Yes.
Do you have an ID with you, sir?
Me?
ID, yeah.
Oh, I only have my passport, sorry.
Huh?
I only have my passport,
Your
sorry.
passport? Okay, go
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and take that. We're going to go ahead and send you to a secondary inspection. Go ahead and park here to your left and remain in your vehicle.
Like inside this little area?
Yeah, right
okay.
through here.
All right.
I don't know where my ID is.
In your purse, probably? Of course, the dog had a in my car, dude. What's going on, everybody? Yes, I got the Pit Vipers on. You already know what it is. So right now we're at another rest stop. We're about 4.5 hours away from San Antonio. We're just trying to rush and get out there and check the condition of the 280. So we're just taking time to relax and kind of assess the situation. We still got a lot more driving to do. And I haven't even seen the 280 at all. So we're gonna review the condition once we arrive. But so far everything's gone without a hitch. You know, the old Civic, good gas mileage, so I'll update you guys when we get there. What's going on, everybody? So right now I'm currently in San Antonio, Texas. I've arrived at my destination. I'm gonna show you the 280 in a second. It's pretty rough, not gonna lie. A lot more rough than I originally thought, but yeah. So far we bought a new battery, some oil filter, tranny fluid, diff fluid, you know, the whole works, just to, you know, clean out the whole car and hopefully, you know, just replace everything, you know. Kind of run through it one thing at a time. So here's the 280. As you can see, got the whole setup going on. It's pretty dark out here in the middle of nowhere, not gonna lie. So far has no gas tank, so we got an inline fuel pump right here and our handy dandy jerry can. But yeah, so far I'm just trying to get it to crank over. The owner stated that it did previously run via, you know, the same setup that I've got going on here. So we're gonna see if that will help at all. I wonder if I can show you inside. It's pretty bad in there. I'm gonna go around the other side. Let me grab that. Yeah, so this is what the interior is kind of looking like right here. It is definitely seen better days. I hope that we're not going to have to deal with too much rust, although I fear the worst at this point. Flat tires basically all around. I did a little preliminary work earlier with this leaf blower. This thing was buried to its knees in leaves and bugs and fucking spiders, so we got that cleared out and got the little bird's nest that was in the air filter. Seems like every abandoned car ever has one of those, comes standard. So yeah, so far we're gonna see if it'll at least crank over, start like the owner said it would, and then we'll kind of go from there. Honestly, my biggest concern is just getting this interior somewhat cleaned up and handled, because it is pretty bad, and this engine bay is pretty messy. So we're gonna probably tomorrow jack this thing up on all fours, take off the tires, slap new tires on it, and then I'll go to work on the interior, gutting it essentially, and move to the motor. It does crank well, you know, it has good crank, strong crank. So we're just gonna kind of go from there and just see if it'll come to life once again. But I am so psyched to to actually get this thing running. I am beyond excited to have this thing run and you know, see the open road once again. So I'll catch you guys. All right, what's going on, everybody? Right now it's around 10 o'clock. Got a little late start to the morning, but we're ready to begin work on the 280. And so far, so good. So last night it wasn't starting because it got flooded, unfortunately, due to this kind of crude fueling system we got here. So right now I'm just giving the battery a good charge. It's a brand new battery. I just have it to set on engine start mode, just to give it a little, you know, oomph. I already checked spark, as you can see on the first cylinder there. So spark is fantastic, everything else is fantastic. So we're gonna see if we can just get this baby to crank up, and hopefully it starts up, and then we can begin work on restoring the rest of the body. So as you can see, those are beyond saving. Those are by far the worst rotors I have ever seen. And the drums aren't faring to either. So, got all 4 tires off. And now we'll probably just start ripping off any other body parts that need to get out for us to clean the rust, and to you know, begin to start actually properly fixing this thing. So we're gonna cut there, and we'll update you guys when something exciting happens. What's going on, everybody? It is 5:55. Quick update on the 280. Took the hood off and removed the air box. Proceeded to remove everything else. And then we bought wiring up the ignition coil right now. It has no spark at the coil, so we're gonna see what that's all about. I think that's all it is, honestly. If it doesn't get sparked after the new coil, then we're gonna be here for much longer, trying to figure out what the hell could be causing that. So just a quick update. Been a couple hours. We did also clean out the interior a bit, kind of vacuumed it up. I did do the screwdriver method and poked out all the rust holes, kind of removing the sound deadening. Pretty rusty. And then the trunk here, as you can see, this didn't fare that well, and then it's already eroding at the edges here. Yeah, so that's no good. So this definitely needs a lot more work. You can see all the interior crap is just rotted, moldy. Seats are moldy. One cool thing though is this has the original Nissan Motor Company wheel stoppers and kit right here for that. All original. These are still in the original plastic bags, which is astonishing to me. But yeah, it's a quick update. We're gonna probably pull out the whole interior, wipe it down, get all the mold, and as you can see, mold right there. So this thing's pretty fucking gross. But I think we'll get it done. I've got a few more days here to really push through on this thing, so we'll see. What is going on, everybody? It is day 3 of the 280Z project. So we have made tons of progress with this car so far. and I mean tons, but trust me, there is many more problems to solve in this car. Like I said, you know, this car by all means of the word has a lot of work that needs to be done to get it running right. So right now we're going to go ahead and just take a look at what I've done so far and kind of take a look at what it needs to actually be roadworthy, which is, like I said before, a lot. So let's just take a quick look right here. So far, you know, I have been trying my best to get this car to start, you know, on command. Before it was a little intermittent, and I think we finally worked out the little gremlins to get it starting on command. So the first culprit we tried to assess here was the ignition coil. Went ahead and bought a new one. Still was getting no spark with this ignition coil even after we replaced it, you know. So my first thought was to come in here and check the fuse box for any burnout fuses. And on these later model, even some of the earlier models, these, they have the transistor ignition box that tends to go bad sometimes. I opened that up, checked it out, board was good, wasn't fried. So, you know, I was really scratching my head, and the owner did state that he previously had someone working on it. So I kind of took a look at this, and you hear that clicking is actually what is providing power to that coil. So this is after I fixed it, to show you a little comparison. Put some nice clips right there, nice wire, crimped it down. This is what was previously done. Yeah, I don't know what the person was thinking. Soldering this wire to these connectors was definitely not the move, but we'll definitely get that portion sorted out. The good news is I since removed the fuel pump, and I'm trying to wire it up back there near the rear of the car, as you can see. But the good news is I was able to get it good enough where it started, so I know the engine's, you know, minty, runs good. Some starting fluid, some fuel, and she fired right up, you know. So that is the huge amount of progress we made so far. Now the bad news is the fuel tank that we dropped off at the shop, they gave us a call back today and they said the fuel tank cannot be repaired. So we're gonna have to make a workaround for that. And I think what I have in mind, since the rear is so rusted out, is to actually install a fuel cell. So we'll see if we can even get there, you know, to that point. That's why I'm kind of installing this gas tank, you know, in the rear, just to see if the, you know, fuel lines and stuff are viable for that. Obviously they're gonna need to be replaced, but like I said before, we're on a time crunch, so we're gonna have to get that worked out. But the plan right now is to, once we acquire the fuel cell, is to probably cut this whole spare tire, you know, area out, and then weld up a bracket and a mount and install about a 12-gallon fuel pump. So hopefully that'll solve our fueling issue. You know, I can't really diagnose all the little gremlins in this car, so I can get that engine running right. So, you know, just flooding the engine every time we're trying to get it started with just engaging the fuel pump definitely is not going to be a long-term solution to repairing this car. Once that's done, we're going to start focusing on this interior, and definitely going to weld some plate to get that repaired, because that is just, every time I look at it, it bugs the hell out of me. So I will not let that go any further. We didn't pick up the rotors, brakes and stuff like that today, and if you forgot what it looked like, yeah, that's what it looks like. pretty jacked up. So I'm gonna pick those up tomorrow and maybe grab a few odds and ends for this thing just to clean it up, like some vacuum hosing that needs replaced. These injectors are pretty rusty, so, but like, that's down the road, to be honest. I've since, you know, I checked all the boots, checked all the hoses so far. Nothing's cracked, more just worn over time. I mean, to be expected. This car has been sitting for, you know, 15 plus years. So that's just a quick little update on day 3. As you can see, I've been hard at work. The huge mess that has accumulated over here, to just taking all these panels out, all the moldy panels, all the good panels, trying to clean this interior up so there's no mold left. That will be terrible. You put the whole thing back together and there's still fucking mold colony under the dash. So like I said, interior stuff down the road, engine stuff right now. So I'll update you guys, like I said, if anything interesting happens, or on day 4. Peace. Alrighty everybody, another day, another dollar with this 280Z. We've definitely made some more progress, and I'll give you guys a look at that right now. We've cut out some of the rust, began prepping for patch panels, and started grinding down some of the rust. I've used some navel jelly to erode the rust, basically eat it and, you know, oxidize it. So we're just cleaning it up a bit, getting things ready. As you can see, we cut out the trunk area. It was just kind of falling apart bit by bit, so we cut it out. We are prepping for a fuel cell, so we need to cut it out either way, because the fuel cell will have a bracket and go right here. We haven't decided on a cylinder or a box yet. As you can see, the Loctite navel jelly has already eaten away some of that rust. This side still has to be done. We're kind of just trying to focus on one side at a time. If you look here, we removed the fuel rail and started just taking out all the O-rings and stuff like that. I feel like the only reason this isn't running yet is due to the fueling issue. So we already have injectors on order. I'll give you guys a look at those real quick here in a second. I have the fuel rail sitting right over here. So you see, here's the fuel rail. I'm definitely gonna polish this up a little bit, just, you know, give it a nice sand down and maybe respray it or coat it with something just so it stays looking good. And we already have it off, so there's no point in not doing that. If we come over here to the injectors, they have definitely seen better days. They are rusted to shit and not looking too happy. Each one is the same. Some of them, when I pull them out, if you can see right there, didn't even have their end caps. So we're definitely thinking that's the issue, because spark is good, obviously has air, and every time we spray some starting fluid, it starts right up for about, you know, a second or two and then dies. I've checked already the fuel pressure regulator, that's good. I've already checked the in and out outlet of the fuel rail, that was good. So everything's really pointing us towards these injectors, and once I pulled them off, you know, I kind of was like that's 100% the issue. So once they get those injectors in, they're getting shipped in from Houston. We're in San Antonio, so they're going to take a minute, and they're going to come in at 2:30 today. Once we get those in, we'll throw the fuel rail on. But right now I'm taking the opportunity, since I can't do any engine work, to kind of clean up the inside and get all that stuff done. We got new brakes, rotors, and stuff like that, so we're gonna have to get these removed as well. I still need to source a spring kit for the rear drums. Don't know where I can find one of those, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Definitely running out of time since it is already Thursday, and I already extended this trip till Tuesday. Well, I'm leaving Tuesday, so realistically I only got till Monday to get this car finished. This is new tires also, by the way. So we got new tires I already put on, and I've already treated these Steelies. So this is what they look like now. I've treated this one. This one's like completely done, and this is kind of what they were looking like before. So definitely a huge improvement. But yeah, so we just need to get those parts in today. We need to throw those on, get new O-rings, get the fuel put back on. I already bought a lot of fuel lines to replace all the rotted ones. Everything everything was rotted. So once we get that stuff done, I got most of the electronical stuff to work. I got the headlights to work. They're not on now. Obviously the hazards work, the taillights work. So most of the electric stuff is working. I got this little inside dome light to work, you know, just messing around with the small stuff since I have to wait. I've checked most of the vacuum lines, got some of those replaced, still need a few more. So yeah, definitely still have a lot more work cut out for me. The radiator, fortunately, does not look too bad. I mean, yeah, it could use a new one, but realistically, if you look at the fins and stuff like that, the condenser, everything looks pretty good. So there's no need. Alternator obviously is working. So yeah, there's just a few things here and there, and hopefully the next time you see me, this thing will be running and maybe driving. So that'll definitely be awesome. But yeah, that's kind of coming together. There's obviously just small stuff that just really needs to be taken care of. So yeah, alrighty, see you guys next time. What is going on, everybody? It is day 1,062,000 trying to get this 280 running. So we have some good news, we have some bad news, as always with these cars. The good news is we got brand new injectors. Bad news is we lost 2 clamps, injector clamps on the end. See how those have a metal piece on the top and those just have the plastic piece. Yeah, it's definitely not supposed to be like that, but I cut the hoses a little long, or I left the hose a little longer on those two just so the fuel rail will push it down to seal it, not necessarily, you know, to drive this car, but just to seal it for testing purposes. So we cranked it over after we installed the injectors. It would not start, so I came over here. I checked all the plugs once again, all the electrical again, and all it was that little screw down there. Loosen it up, adjust it like 2 centimeters, and it started right up, no issue. So it sounds a little rough, a little misfire, I think. Not sure. I'll put to the clip here in a second of it running, but it definitely needs some love. So I'm welding in some panels right there. I already cut out the rust, so I'm going to do an oil change, do a diff fluid change, do a tranny fluid change. I used a lot of this stuff on it. I'd highly recommend it. Loctite Rust Dissolver, the navel jelly. Leave it on there for about 30 minutes, spray it down some water, reapply, and it really just takes the rust right off, to be honest. So after we do all the fluid changes, we get all the parts for the shoes, the rotors, etc. So we're gonna throw all that stuff on there, hopefully make it look a lot better. We're not gonna paint it. We were gonna paint it, but we decided against it, just because, not like a professional paint job, but just to sand it down and primer it. The owner wants to actually get it a real paint job, but you know. So everything looks good, everything's working good. I need to check a few electrical things, but moral of the story is it starts. So that's all that really matters. I'll probably try to run down everything I did do it, just to help other people out there who are struggling with these cars. I know they're not easy and they have a lot of moving parts. Hell, this is my first time working on a 280. The only reason why I know how is I've worked on 2 Z31s, so. But yeah, this thing is gonna be sweet, and hopefully by the end of this video it'll be running. I clearly hit record.
Oh, I got it upside down. Of course. Yeah, I got it upside down.
What's going on, everybody? We're concluding our trip to San Antonio fixing the Texan Z. So what we ended up doing, new injectors, obviously, as you saw, fixed the rest of the wiring issues, charged the battery, just doing a quick review of new ignition coil. I added fluid to the clutch cylinder, which is back here, brake cylinder, etc. Immensely cleaned up the interior. It looks a little dirty right now because I put all the spare parts back in there. But yeah, she's sitting pretty. We're gonna throw on the hood real quick, and I think we're gonna conclude this entirety of the trip. But she does not look too shabby. I didn't quite get to finish the floorboard, and we didn't install the fuel cell yet. But I will definitely be seeing the Z again, so I'm not too worried. But so far, so good. It actually looks like a real car. Not to say it wasn't before, but it just looks like whole, less dilapidated, and most importantly, it runs, which is the most important part. And I mean, it'll move under its own power, just not well. I think there's something going on with the timing, and I mean, we couldn't really get to that. Needs a new radiator, but I added fresh coolant anyway. Better than hose water. The drivetrain's still good. The rear brake drums are frozen, so that's another thing that has to be done. I don't know when I'll see the Z next, but I will definitely be seeing the Z sometime. We checked the throttle position sensor, which is right here, and the mass airflow sensor, which is right there. Everything seems good, and like I said, it runs pretty all right. I just think it's the timing, maybe the timing belt. You know, these belts are, I don't know how old in the car. I don't know if you can see that was last registered in 95, so that kind of just gives you a frame of reference. We didn't really get a chance to throw any of the body panels on, but yeah, I'm sorry I gave you guys such a update so late. I just kind of got busy throughout the day doing other things and, you know, getting ready to leave. But yeah, it's not the worst car I've seen, but it's not the best. It needs, to be honest, like $10,000 in repairs. And the engine is blowing white smoke, or white blue smoke, so it could be bad piston rings, could be buildup, I don't know. I think the motor needs to be pulled either way and rebuilt, and the owner's still deciding on that, so we'll see. The wiring harness isn't perfect either, so there's that. You might be swapping out the motor with a 350 Chevy, who knows, but whatever it is, I'll be back probably to perform the work, so I'm not too worried about that. I just tried to grease it up, you know, where it needed some grease, and, you know, kind of stitch it back together, breathe some new life into it. And, you know, I think we accomplished that goal, so I'm kind of going to conclude the work here on this Z and start heading home in this beast. And yeah, that's about it. So I appreciate you guys joining me on this journey, and until the next one.